Welcome back to another episode on Beho Reviews. As I have grown up with so many different consoles, I forget that once when I was a kid who needed to push in the right direction in making the right choice in purchasing any console. It made me wonder how I made those difficult decisions back then in comparison to what I do today, especially with my time is very limited and I pretty much just buy the new console on the block as I pretty much enjoy everything in the gaming landscape. There were in particular singular games that I would push me to buy or at the time beg my parents to get me the console just so that I could experience that sense of awe I would get from my friends, gaming magazines, and publications. Here is a look at the games that specifically got me to buy the console one way or another. Before we do get started, besides the Super Nintendo, I won't be going into Nintendo systems from the Nintendo DS through the Switch 2, as I bought all of their systems for a singular game called Mario Kart for my son much later when he was able to play. He pretty much played every Mario Kart iteration from Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS to Mario Kart World on the Switch 2. Although I did beg for a Nintendo, my mom opted for the Sega Master System due to it being on sale and the games were much cheaper. Although I had a blast, there was one game I just couldn't wait for playing in the arcades with Afterburner. Although a much toned down port, I played this game over and over again at home and marveled on the box cover with the advertised 4 Mega Kart of Power. With my cousins owning a Nintendo, my brother and I finally split the bill to get one game we couldn't put down with Contra. Even though we always played with the infamous 30 lives code, we played the game over and over again and still love that game even today with my son. Again, watching my other cousins bring over their new Sega Genesis, the one game that really pushed us to open our wallets yet again was Sega's owned arcade hack and slash with Golden Axe. This really opened my eyes with the move from 8 to 16-bit power and was such a blast to play. I remember always fighting on who would be the dwarf as he was definitely overpowered. As the console wars got very heated with Nintendo and Sega, I bled Sega all the way through until I finally crossed over with one arcade fighter that I spent way too much time in the arcades with, Street Fighter II. Once it was announced for the Super Nintendo and not the Sega Genesis, I jumped ship, even bought the Japanese version of the game so I couldn't wait for its release. Luckily, the Super Nintendo had its fair share of great games, but Street Fighter II pushed me to break that console war sides. As a huge Sega fan, I did buy the Sega CD and 32X add-ons, but not when it was released. The Sega CD really got my attention with Silpheed, as it pushed CD technology at the time and really wowed me so much that I took the bullet and picked up this expensive add-on. I still have very fond memories of the CD games that it had to offer, but I have to admit, my first game was Silpheed. With the 32X, I had huge doubts, but with the release of Virtua Fighter, I couldn't wait to go get the system pretty much at the same time Virtua Fighter was released. Thank God, since this add-on was on a deep sale at the time, but boy, did I play the game over and over again and literally owning only 2 games for the add-on with Star Wars Arcade, but Virtua Fighter alone was worth it. With the 32-bit era and the crazy Sega Saturn release price of $399, Sega really tested my loyalty. I waited until I saw something worth my time, and the one game I had to have from Sega was Virtua Fighter 2, as it totally blew me away on how the game looked and played. I was in fighting game heaven and ended up loving the Saturn as one of my favorite and most beloved consoles. A lot of my friends loved their PlayStation, but I had just as much fun with my Saturn until one game was announced and I fell for its hype with Final Fantasy VII, almost getting a Nintendo 64 as Square was always working with Nintendo. Their choice to move the CD technology, and specifically with Sony, I again got my wallet out to play Final Fantasy VII only on the PlayStation. Unfortunately, along with other great RPGs, I never did much have anything else, but still is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. With a new era but ill-fated next console from Sega with the Dreamcast, I jumped on the multiplayer bandwagon with NFL 2K and never looked back. The game looked like the best sports games hands down, and the fun I had with my friends made us 2K fans for life. Most of us stopped playing Madden when EA took the exclusive license from the NFL that pretty much crushed the 2K series. With Sony taking out Sega once again, I was heartbroken with the end of the Dreamcast. I stayed away from Sony's PlayStation 2, but once again, the hype took control of me with one game just like the original PlayStation with Final Fantasy X. This game is still my favorite Final Fantasy, next to Final Fantasy III on the Super Nintendo. Again, not much else I played on the system, but boy, this was one hell of an experience. With Sega's demise, I wanted to love Microsoft Xbox, but couldn't get past the behemoth of a controller. But again, there was one game that was only on that specific console due to the developers touting that the console's power was a sole choice to develop on with Team Ninja's Ninja Gaiden. Loving the game on the OG Nintendo, this game blew me away as I willingly gave up my wallet once again. Being in college and working and growing my relationship with my then girlfriend and now wife, I had very little time playing games. That all ended when I saw BioWare's Mass Effect exclusively for the Xbox 360. I loved everything from BioWare at the time with their release of Knights of the Republic and Jade Empire on the Xbox. This was a natural evolution for me and pretty much got me back into gaming. Although I love the tech and use the PlayStation 3 primarily for its very good Blu-ray player, I did buy one game that had me amazed as I saw it with its presentation with Heavenly Sword. I did enjoy Metal Gear Solid 4, but overall, Heavenly Sword was the main game and the Blu-ray player that I got for the console. My wife to this day blames me for never really using the console, as my friends and I played the Xbox 360 nightly with Call of Duty Online. Very pleased with the Xbox 360. The Xbox One presentation was so sour, I opt for a PlayStation 4 with their look on the Order 1886. The game looked awesome, and even though very short, I loved the experience. However, I couldn't get into the DualShock controller and liked the offset analog sticks from the Xbox, and opt to trade in my PS4 for an Xbox One. Even GameStop employees were very shocked at what I was doing. Of course, with the Xbox One, the one game that started it all for me once again was BioWare's Mass Effect Andromeda. I had already experienced Dragon Age Inquisition on PC and couldn't wait for another Mass Effect. Although very mixed reviews, I still enjoyed the game immensely, especially with its gunplay and combat. Now, in the current generation of consoles, I pretty much decided to get both consoles with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X without any analyzing if there were any games I truly wanted. I can say that God of War Ragnarok is probably my favorite game on Sony's machine, and find myself playing almost everything and anything else on my Series X, with the addition of Game Pass that really helps out. Either way you look at it, I don't think I will ever buy a console again solely for one game, and with so many options to play, especially on PC. Well, that's it for this look at some games that the hype of the game truly pushed me to spend my hard-earned dollars one way or another. Please like and subscribe if you like my videos. Beho out and Greg. Take us out of here, and I will see you all next upload.
We only submitted one. What do we do? Do we fight them? What? Run! Definitely run!
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.